Smoked cherry glazed baby back ribs on Smokin' and Drinkin'. Hey, welcome back to Smokin' and Drinkin'. I'm Mike, and today we're going to make smoked cherry glazed baby back ribs on the pellet grill. We are going to start the ribs on the pellet smoker at about 225 with cherry pellets, and we're going to use my Smokin' and Drinkin' rib rub to start it off. And then we'll, while that's going, we'll mix up the cherry glaze, and we'll get into the ingredients on that after a bit. And then we'll bring the ribs in after a few hours on low and slow on the Traeger, and we'll get the glaze on. But let's get started first. So I was kind of inspired to do this. It's Christmas time, and one of my family's favorite treats are chocolate covered cherries. And I started out also making a Choco Cherry Noir wine, which we'll have a little bit of that at the end, hopefully. And you have to check that video out as well. But got me to thinking, hey, we could go one step further and make a cherry glaze for our baby back ribs. So that's the inspiration for that, and let's get started. So, like I said, we're going to just start off with the Smokin' and Drinkin' rib rub. It's a simple rib rub. First thing we need to do is get the membrane off of the back, if there is one. Yep, there is one. Some people kind of struggle with this process. It's really not too difficult. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can peel up a corner, get a hold of it with a paper towel, and just peel it off. Another way that I've seen, we're going to try today, is start in the center, take a butter knife, slip underneath that membrane from the edge, and then if you can get started in there with your knife, get a good start going on it, and then slip your finger underneath and get it started all the way across. It's the first time I'm doing this, so we'll see how this goes, but it's going good so far. Just get it started in the middle, all the way to the other edge. Whoops, don't want to tear it. I think that makes it just a little harder, but it's okay. Okay, we got it all the way to the edge, and then just kind of lift towards one end, and it comes right off. Then you lift towards the other end. Sometimes you get a hold of it with a paper towel. That might make it easier. You don't want that membrane on there. Some people leave it on and just score it with a knife, but it comes off pretty easy. So I like to take it off. Makes it a better presentation, and you don't have to cut quite so hard to get through them. There's nothing chewy in there, but anyway, that comes off pretty easy. So then we'll put some rub on there. I like to use a binder. There's nothing special about this binder. It's just simple yellow mustard, and doesn't affect the taste. It just gives the rub something to adhere to. Now, this is a pretty moist pork ribs. It probably adhere, but I'll go ahead and put some mustard on there. Not really worried about being super sanitary. I mean, I wash my hands. I don't know how many people wear gloves when they cook in their own kitchen just for being sanitary. That's fine if you want to. This is mostly for ease of cleanup, because I don't know if you've ever used mustard and spread it out with your hands. It takes some scrubbing to get it off. Not there's anything wrong with it. I mean, I suppose you could lick your fingers to get it off, but this is just easier. We'll use one hand just to spread out that mustard. Get good coverage, because you want your the rub, to have good coverage too. You want to cover the whole rack to make sure you get good coverage. You know, we're going to cut this little flap off the end. It's just going to burn anyway. Set that aside. Put that in that pan. Here's another flap. You have little flaps hanging off, loose spots. They're just going to burn. So we'll just cut them off. All right, then we want to get the other side. Again, you don't have to use a binder. Some people don't. Doesn't really affect the flavor, so it doesn't hurt anything. I figure give myself every advantage I can to get good coverage with my rub. All right, then we just, you know what I'm going to do? I have a nice disposable pan here that works real well for working with this stuff. Set that aside. And then it'll catch everything that I miss when I sprinkle. You want to be liberal with your rub. Don't be afraid. And you want to get the edges. And just kind of pat it in there a little bit. Don't really have to. That's what the mustard's for. And we flip it over. We do our other side. Okay. And then you want to let it sit for a little while. You want that to soak in and kind of bind with the pork. So we will set this aside for just a minute, for about, I don't know, 10-15 minutes. This is a good time to go get the Traeger fired up and preheated. Again, like I said, we'll be using cherry pellets, and we'll be doing that at about 225 to start out with. So I'll go out and get the Traeger fired up and be right back. Okay, we're gonna get started on the Cherry Glaze. Had a little bit of audio trouble there, so apologize for that, but let's get started making this glaze while our Traeger is preheating. We're going to start with cherry preserves. I just got these at the grocery store, and we need 2 cups of cherry preserves or jam, and this is 13 ounces, which is just under 2 cups. It's okay. It'll work fine. Don't need to be exact. Okay, perfect. Our cherry preserves. And next we need a 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. I've just got simple, raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar from the grocery store. Let's take that off if we can. Nope, let's do it that way. 1/4 cup. There we go. 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. We need a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. Oof, that's a lot of soy sauce. It's gonna kill my bottle, I think. I'm gonna take every bit of it. I might have to see if I have more. Well, I have about 1/8 of a cup. Let's see if I have some more. Never fear. Found a whole other bottle. That's good. It's always good to check your supplies before you get started. Okay, 1/4 cup. There we go. 1/4 cup of soy sauce. And then we need a 1/4 cup of bourbon whiskey. This is optional, of course, but always like the flavor of bourbon. 1/4 cup. 1/4 cup of bourbon whiskey. And we need 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Seems like brown sugar is kind of like salt. It goes in everything when you're smoking things. But I love brown sugar anyway, so that's good. 2 tablespoons. One. 2. Okay. Need we're going to do a half a teaspoon of garlic salt. You can do minced garlic if you like. Sometimes that's better. I didn't have any. I used it all on my last dish, but garlic salt will work too. And then 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika. Smoked paprika. 1 teaspoon of chili powder. One teaspoon of chili powder. Teaspoon of chili powder. And 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. 1/4 teaspoon. 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Okay. And then we just stir all that up, get it mixed real good. And I'm thinking that our smoker is up to temp, so as soon as we get this mixed a little bit, we'll get the ribs on. Set that aside. Yeah, so you'll see now that the ribs they're kind of moist, kind of look like they're sweating. That's a good sign. That means the rub is getting blended in. So we'll get this out to the smoker right on the rack, and we'll let that go for about 3 hours at 225. So let's get that out to the smoker. Okay, let's get the smoker open, and let's get our ribs going on there. Open right on the center rack there. That'll work fine. We'll let that go for about 2 hours, or 3 hours, excuse me. We'll check it back in about every hour. So that ought to do it. Okay, we've got the baby back ribs on the smoker, rib side down, and we'll let that go for about 3 hours. We've got our glaze mixed up here. We're going to want to simmer that on medium heat for about 10 to 15 minutes till it thickens, but we've got 3 hours for the ribs, so we're just going to set this in the refrigerator. I'm going to cover it with some shrink wrap or foil or something, and we're just going to let it sit in the fridge while we wait for our ribs. So we'll put that in, and we'll be back in about 3 hours. For you, about 3 seconds. All right, it's been 3 hours. We need to get these wrapped. We're going to add a little bit of apple juice just to keep them moist. We're going to double wrap them in foil. Just going to take that right onto the foil. We're going to make a little boat. So that we don't lose our apple juice. Just kind of pinch the corners for now. We're gonna add a little butter to it. We're gonna add just a little bit more brown sugar and a little butter, just to add some flavor and juice to it. Just kind of sprinkle the brown sugar over the top. Doesn't take much, just a few tablespoons. And then we're just going to take a stick of butter, cut some little 1/4-inch pats, and put them right on top. This will help just add to that flavor and the juiciness. Sometimes when you're smoking, you gotta pay attention that you don't dry things out. These don't look the least bit dried out. I spritzed them a couple times during the first 3 hours with some apple juice, just to make sure they don't dry out. And just got a few extra pats, but that's okay. That'll just be that much juicier. Okay, I got our butter and our brown sugar. We've made a little boat. We're gonna add our apple juice. Just about a 1/4 cup or so. Just helps keep the ribs juicy. Fold our ends in, and fold our top down. And make sure it's sealed real good. Fold our other top in. There we go. Then we're going to get this back on for 2 hours. It might not take that long. These are a little smaller racks, so it actually took about 2 hours and 50 minutes the first time. We'll put them on. We'll check them in an hour, see what they look like. And if we need to, we'll go to 2 hours. Then we'll pull them off. We'll get our glaze going. So we'll get these back on the Traeger. Okay, we've had the ribs on the smoker for about 5 hours. We're gonna get them out of the foil and get them glazed. We simmered our cherry glaze mixture until it started to thicken, and we're just gonna try and get these out of here without flipping them on the floor. We want to leave that juice in there. That's good. Good juice to add to the cherry glaze. Let's get these flipped back over. They smell delicious. I wish you could smell this. It is hot. Okay. Now we just want to baste liberally the ribs with our cherry glaze. Don't need that spoon. I think liberally means pretty liberally. We got quite a bit of the juice here. Could be a little thicker. That's all right. We're just gonna, yeah, we'll just use quite a bit of this. And we're gonna just put this out directly on with no foil and let that glaze tack up. And for about an hour, we'll check it at about 30 minutes. As soon as it gets tacked up and kind of sticky, I think it'll be ready. So let's get that back out on the smoker. Okay, we've got the smoked cherry glazed baby back ribs off of the smoker. Took a little longer. It took another couple of hours after we put the glaze on and got it back in there. Got them up to about 190, 195. I think it's because it's cold out. It's about 28 degrees Fahrenheit outside. So just took a little longer. But as you can see, the ribs are just starting, the meat is just starting to pull off of the bones. That's how we want it. So let's get this, let's dig into this. And we do have extra glaze, and you can use that. You can put it on the table and add glaze if you like, kind of like a sauce or barbecue sauce. Let's take the end off of here. Whoops. Getting into the bone here. And if you flip it over, sometimes it's a little easier to see what you're doing. Yep, you can see where those bones are. Come at them from a different angle. There we go. Let's just get a couple of them sliced off here. They're very hot. Okay. Those look delicious. Smell wonderful. You can smell that cherry. Just a little hint of the cherry. And oh my, those look delicious. Okay. Also have a glass of my chocolate covered cherry wine. We just finished that today. It's finished fermenting, but it needs to age. So it's a little young, but I thought I'd give it a try. It's still delicious. We're going to give that a try as we try these. All right, I've waited long enough. Let's dig in. Have a taste. Very tender. Oh boy, that's delicious. Sweet and just a teeny tiny hint of spice, but definitely a cherry undertone there. Wow. Let's try our chocolate covered cherry wine. See how that goes with it. Oh wow. That is so good. Just the right tenderness. Not completely falling off the bone, but pretty close. Let me have another shot here. Wow, that might be my new favorite way of preparing ribs. All right, well that about does it. Thanks for tuning in to Smokin' and Drinkin'. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button and ring that bell. And as always, Prost!